Hi everybody, I am Husky Light. Thank you for stopping by. I hope the sound of the water over this waterfall is not louder than my voice. Right, I've tried to record this twice now, so I've already wasted about 2 hours, all told. So I'm going to start again. I downloaded an app onto my phone for recording, and for some reason it wasn't having it, so I'm going to do it again. This is what happens when there's lots of retrogrades going on. So I just wanted to update on the energy, and I wanted to get into, in another video, I'm going to do another video after this about false twin flames, who are not really false twin flames. They're there to help you, but with so many people awakening at the moment, I thought it would be helpful to go through a few of my own experiences at the beginning of my Kundalini awakening. We're going back to about 2012 now, and how that went, which really wasn't well, but hopefully it'll help some of you. As I say, a false twin flame is not really a false twin flame. They usually come in around the same time that you meet your twin, and you start on the journey. They're usually around that time, and they're to help you learn. They're there to help you ascend. They're there to help you discern, to learn lessons, to understand things. There to teach you things that your twin can't teach you, that you need to know about. And looking back on it, I didn't understand it at the time, but I very well understand it now, looking back on it. But it's a really confusing time if you're actually going through it, or if you've experienced it before. I also wanted to say thank you to everybody, not just for, well, yeah, for liking and sharing and subscribing, etc., but just for being there completely. Time is speeding up. An hour's not an hour anymore, a minute's not a minute anymore, and everything is speeding up. We have so many changes that we're going through at the moment, and you really help support me and help me to do what I need to do to help my ascension progress, to do what I was contracted to do what I said that I would do when I came here in the first place. There are so many souls that wanted to be here on earth at this time, in the third dimension, coming down into a physical body to experience what we are experiencing, what we're going to experience in the future. We are so lucky and so blessed to have had the chance to have been allowed to do this. And yeah, I want to say thank you to, when I'm doing readings or healings and clearings and things like that, when people come to me, a lot of the time I will realize that a lot of you are part of my soul family, are a lot of my monad group, because the more you ascend, the more you attract to you. That's what you're doing. You're getting your spiritual team together, and I've noticed a lot. There's quite a few of you that are in my spirit group from my monad group, which really helps, because it means that I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right things and doing what I need to be doing. So yeah, I'm going to do another video on the darker twin flame, the false twin flame, and that, which are, so many people are awakening at the moment. It's crazy. I have just, a little story, I have just been laughing to myself because I delivered flowers to a woman day before yesterday, amongst a load of other flowers that I was delivering, and she wasn't in when I got there. And within 30 seconds of me arriving, she actually arrived home, and she'd been round at her parents, helping them with the gardening, and then she just thought to herself, I need to go home. I'll go and get a different pair of cutters for the garden from her house. And she arrived within 30 seconds of me arriving to receive her flowers. And she was like, wow, that must have been intuition or something. And I said, yeah, it was. I said, you were being nudged to get over here and get your flowers. And she said, oh, that's really cool. Anyway, I've never seen her before in my life, and I've just been out to the local supermarket, and just as I'm getting back into my van, there's a woman next to me, parked next to me, getting into her car at the same time, and it's the same blooming woman that I delivered the flowers to. And I didn't let on that I recognised her, but I glanced over her way and I just chuckled to myself, because she was having a major synchronicity at that moment, and I could see her brain whirling around, thinking to herself, what the hell, there's that woman again that delivered flowers to me, and now I'm parked at the side of her and I've just got in my car at the same time, within 48 hours sort of thing, within a couple of days. What's going on? We've never seen each other in our lives. But so to her, she was having a major synchronicity, and she'd noticed she was having a synchronicity, and I could see her furiously trying to work it out. She looked so confused, bless her. And to me it was a synchronicity because I'd only seen her a couple of days before, but to me it wasn't, you know, it didn't bother me. It's just par for the course with these things. So I thought that was quite amusing. So I did a video a couple of weeks ago about karma, and karma coming back to bite you in the ass. Now karma's going to disappear eventually. It's going to get less and less the more we actually ascend, because the longer we're on the ascension process, the longer we're going on this twin flame journey, the more conscious we are of what we're thinking, what we're doing, how we're behaving, what's good for us, what's not good for us, having that intuition and that guidance from our higher selves and our guides from the universe, from our twin. So as time goes on, it will get less and less, but we've just come to the end of a 7-year cycle, and we're about to start a new 7-year cycle, and there seems to be a lot of tying up of loose ends at the moment, and a lot of karma coming around, and a lot of things happening, and has been for a few weeks now. Now that video that I did a couple of weeks ago, for anyone who's not seen it, I'll really quickly recap. A few years ago I had a car. It was broken down, it was dying on me. I could not afford to take it in. It was due its MOT, its yearly test. I couldn't afford to get it in. I needed to get rid of it and get another car because I knew I wasn't going to make it. And I was fretting about it and worrying about it, and a friend of mine said to me, hey, it was a friend's husband said to me, somebody owes me a favour at the garage, let's take your car down there, they will put it through for you, even though it won't go through. They will sneakily put it through for you and pass it so that you can get rid of the car. At the time I didn't seem to have any other choice, and although I felt guilty about it, I needed that car. I needed it for my children, my dogs, for life. So I did it, and it was put through. And I was also trading it into a garage, so my thoughts were, well, I'm not selling it privately, it's not going to harm anyone. When it's handed into the garage and I trade it in for another car, they will check it over, and anything they find on it they'll fix before they sell it personally. So I tried to reason with it in my own mind, that it would be okay, and I did it, and I didn't think a lot of it after that until I got the van. Now I'll finish off telling you about the van. I'll tell you why I got the van in the first place. When I got the van, it needed some stuff doing to it, and somebody appeared in my life who was a mechanic and started helping me on the cheap to get the things done to the van that needed to get done. But then something went wrong and it stopped running, and it wouldn't run. It would run for so long and then it would break down. It was like intermittent, and we couldn't figure out what it was. We didn't know if it was the ECU, whether it was a loose wire somewhere. It was a nightmare, and it's been like that since December, since I bought the van. Complete nightmare. And it got to the point where we couldn't figure out what it was. It went into a garage, a legitimate garage, a few weeks ago. And they said, well, it might be the map system, but actually at the moment it's not breaking down in the garage, so we can't figure out what it is. We're going to put a new map system in it for you, but we can't guarantee that that will fix the problem. It may not do. we're just gonna take a chance, but there's a load of other stuff that needs doing as well. So they did the map system for me, and it's ran ever since. Now, they didn't guarantee that it was going to run, but at the moment that I realised what was going on, because at the garage they told me that van should never have got through its MOT, should never have passed its test. He dodgily put it through, and there was my karma coming right back at me. I'd gone and bought a van that hadn't been put through. It needed so much work doing to it. And as soon as I realised it and learnt my lesson and realised and understood what was going on and what the lesson was and why it had happened, and stopped putting up resistance to it as well, because I was putting up a lot of resistance to it. Somewhere in the back of my head, unconsciously, I might have known, but I put up so much resistance to it. It's been running ever since. It's been out the garage now about 3 weeks. It's still running, and it's fine. Now, when I brought it out of the garage originally, immediately after I brought it out the garage, I thought, do you know what, this is too dodgy. I don't trust it anymore. I'm going to put it on eBay. I'm going to get rid of it. And I put it up for sale on eBay. At the same time that I did that, somebody else that I walk the dogs with said, hey, I've got a friend who's a mechanic. Give this guy a call. He'll come and take the van away, have a look at it. If it's a loose wire, he'll find it, etc., etc. Phoned this guy, arranged it with him. The morning he was supposed to come and pick the van up, he didn't, because he was in hospital having tests done for something or other, so he couldn't come and get it. And then he never turned up after that, and I couldn't get hold of him. He just wouldn't take my call, or I don't know if something happened at the hospital to him, or he'd had some bad news or whatever. But anyway, so my van was never picked up to take back to a mechanic to look at. It didn't sell on eBay. The sale ended a few days ago and it didn't sell. So that was that. So I'm stuck with the van for whatever reason, because it won't sell and I can't get it to another mechanic. But it's running, and that's the main thing. And I said a couple of weeks ago in that last video that I did about this, that the guy that had been helping me to fix it, he'd only come into my life for a reason. I knew that. He had come into my life to help me as much as he could with the van, to help me learn a lesson, to help me learn this karmic lesson that had come round for me, and to help me realise what was going on. And as soon as that lesson was learnt, he would leave. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I couldn't end it myself by turning around and saying, hey, thanks very much, you've taught me a lesson, I understand, you can be on your way now. And incidentally, he had lessons to learn as well, which I taught him. So circumstances happened a couple of days ago, and the way the circumstances happened, he had to leave. So, and I'm fine with that. There's no worries, there's no concerns, there's no nothing, because I knew he was only going to be in my life for a specific reason, and that was to help me learn this lesson with the van. That's why he appeared, and that's why he's disappeared again, because the van is now working and now I've learnt my lesson. So lesson, here ended the lesson. It's done. You will be going through things like this through the awakening. Once you are awake and aware, you will realise that every circumstance, every situation, every person that comes into your life is there for a specific reason. Now, that guy, that was in his contract before he was born. When he decided to come back here, I was in a contract somewhere that at this time, in this time and space, in this dimension, he would help me with that. He was brought in for that reason into my life, and I have helped him. Hopefully he will learn some lessons that he needed to learn as well regarding his life, because he met me. We all have a fundamental effect on everybody that we meet and every situation that we're in. It's the butterfly effect. So, lesson is learned from that. But yeah, you are going to come across these, and the quicker you understand them, the quicker you know what's going on, and you get it, the quicker you're out of it, the quicker the karma is done, it's finished, you move forward from that. But you're going to find that these circumstances happen, these tests come in for you, and you could have tests that are repeated from the past, coming in through a different face, through a different body, but it will be the same test from somewhere else, just to test you, just to see if this time you have learnt your lesson, if this time you have got through it. And you will go through with flying colours if you're awake and you're aware and you know what's going on, or you won't and it'll come up again in the future. But the more we're on this process, the less and less this karma thing will happen as we go forward. So that's a really good thing. I wanted to say as well, I am so thank you so much to you, but I love it when you comment on other people's comments in the comments, apart from all your liking and sharing and subscribing and everything. I think it's amazing and it's wonderful because you are connecting, again, you are connecting together, you know, and you could be answering a comment from somebody who is just waking up, who hasn't got a clue, who is confused, maybe scared, and you're helping them. As I can't answer every single comment sometimes, though I will always read through them, and I'll always put a little heart next to them, because I love all of them. But you are helping us out, and maybe you become friends, maybe you're connected, maybe that's the start of something, maybe that's the start of a friendship between you and somebody else. But it just shows me you're doing your bit, you're doing your essential, your service to others as well, and we're all in this together, and yes, we are one. But at the same time that we are all one in this universe, we are also raising towards Christ consciousness, which means we will raise above the ones that are still asleep. So we will get to a point where we get above the collective consciousness. We have the collective consciousness in a family, we have collective consciousness in a town, we have collective consciousness in a city, in a country, in the universe. Eventually we will raise above that because we are at a different vibration from that. We can tap into it whenever we want to. I mean, I tap into it when I do readings. But we will raise above it because we're not at that same vibration. So although we are all one, we're all at different levels, and we're moving through different levels as we go forward. So I wanted to mention that as well. What else did I need to mention? I think that's it. I'm going to do the other video on the false because yeah, I just hope it helps. And I've never, this is one of the reasons why I'm not actually on camera doing this, because I can sort of feel like I can talk more freely sometimes if I'm not directly on camera and messing about with my hair and makeup and things like that. I can just sort of get into it and go more with the flow of things. We are going through so many earth changes, political changes, governmental changes, our bodies are changing, we're physically changing, our emotions are changing, everything is just changing at the moment. And we all have our own timeline to work to, our own deadline to work to. We will all get that nudge when it is time for us to give up something, tie up a loose end, start something new, go in a certain direction, whatever stage we are at. It doesn't matter because we're all just catching each other up, and some are ahead and some are behind. We're not. It's just the timeline that you're on. We're all really at the same level. So we've got all of this changes, all these changes going on, and I know personally my timeline, and I think a lot of yours collectively as well for Twin Flame Starseeds Lightworkers, is 2020 to 2021. I am pretty confident that by 2021 I will be working with my twin flame, who will be sat next to me, and we will be working together at that point. But while we're apart, while we're not in that position at the moment, and I think that 2020, 2021 will be huge, you know, for a lot of you. Most of you will be in union then, I don't know what happens after 2021. I think obviously people are continuing to wake up. Whether there will be such an influx of twin flames, I'm not sure. I think the majority of twin flames waking up now, or who have already woken up, it will be 2021 at the latest that you're together, in whichever capacity that is. Remember that you're already in union, you're not in separation or anything else from them, you're just not physically with them in the physical. And the whole goal of the twin flame journey is ascension. It is reaching that Christ consciousness. It is not about it's becoming whole in yourself. It's not the be all and end all to be with your twin flame in the finish, but that is part of it. That's what will happen. So I know personally it will be 2020 because I can see the way things are playing out. I can see the timelines. I can see, you know, in the physical at the moment there are certain circumstances that prevent me and my twin from being together. We still have lessons to learn, we still have things to work through, and physically in the 3D things are preventing us from being together. It is not physically possible for us, not because he's in a relationship or I'm in a relationship, nothing like that. We have children, we also have dogs that don't like each other. He has a daughter who's allergic to my cat. He's at university at the moment. There's all sorts going on, and certain things need to be completed, fulfilled, you know, before we get to that stage. And going back to the van, I've wanted a van for like 3 or 4 years now, and the reason I've wanted a van is because I know about the earth changes and the things that are happening, and the governmental changes and the whole earth changing. And Jeannie agrees. Things are changing rapidly. Time is speeding up. We are going to see a lot of earth changes and earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, all the rest of it. We are heading for a mini ice age. That is something that I've known for a long time, and as I understand it, we will be there within the next 10 years. And there's some huge changes going on then. So I've always wanted, since I woke up pretty much, I've had this urge, this push to get a van. So that if we are all protected, so there is nothing to worry about and there's nothing to fear whatsoever. We're all protected in that, but if it ever comes a point where there are riots in the street or something, you know, I want to be able to put my kids and the dogs in the van and go somewhere safely. That's why I've wanted it. Plus, I want to get out into nature more. Plus, one day I don't want to be in a house. I want to be free to be able to travel as much as possible. When the kids have left home one day, I want to be free to be able to travel. I can do readings on the road. But I've got that freedom to get out into nature whenever I want to, then without being tied to a physical house at all. So, and yes, still needs a lot of work doing to it, but finally it's starting to get there. It's going to be gorgeous when it's finished. Gorgeous. So I just wanted to make you aware of all of that. And I say, I will do another video on the dark twin flame, the false twin flame, whatever you want to call it. Really, they're just catalysts. Really, they've been brought in for a reason, to help you. But you will find on the awakening path, if that's what you've chosen for yourself, if that's part of the contract, that they will probably be around the same time as your other twin flame when you first start waking up to your twin flame. That happens in a lot of circumstances. And you will also find they are the complete opposite of the twin as well, and that will bring in some confusion. So I'll bring another video out on that. Take care. Namaste. I love you loads. Anybody who's got readings ordered with me, they will be with you tomorrow, by tomorrow at the latest. For the few that I've got outstanding, I'm getting it on with them. tomorrow. I've not hardly slept for 2 nights now, just because the energies are very high. Oh, and thank you, you just reminded me. I mentioned in the angel cards on Sunday about the fact that suddenly around the Scorpio full moon, my menstrual cycle changed from being really light for months and months and months, because I'm getting on a bit, and to suddenly it was like going back to my early 20s or my teenage years, where they were just horrible. And yeah, you remember those days. And quite a few of you have gone through. My friend down the road, she had it as well. But also quite a few of you have actually come back to me and said you've had the same thing this month. It's our DNA changing, it's our bodies changing physically as we go through this process. It's just further collaboration with that. Plus, you know, we are meditating, we are looking after ourselves more, and this is having an effect on our bodies as well, and we're reaching Christ consciousness as well. So maybe that will be the norm every month once we get up into 5D. You know, we're reconnecting our 12 strands of DNA, so that might be the norm. But we're definitely, it's an indication that maybe we're getting healthier because we are looking after our bodies more. Maybe we are turning back the clock a little bit with this process as well. So anyway, take care. Namaste. I hope this helps. Watch out for your karma. It will slap you up, and it's happening quicker and quicker. And because we're at the end of this 7-year cycle and about to start another one, then it's like you can feel that underlying slight pressure, because we all have certain deadlines to work to for when we need to get something done or when we need to complete something, and you can sort of feel that as an undercurrent within you. So that's coming around. So because we're at the end of a cycle, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get something from under the telly. We're needing to tie up loose ends. So you may have situations coming up at the moment which need to be finished. As with the van, it's finished. The person dealing with it is finished because it's not being carried into the next 7-year cycle. You know, it's done with now. So you will find things happening a lot quicker. So I need to go and sort band it out. Take care. Namaste, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.